Churches are beginning to reopen for worship, but in some states, Christians believe there is a double standard. I'm Mark Martin, talk with conservative radio host Todd Starnes about some of the latest cases across the nation and why religious liberty may be at risk.
Todd, there's a story on your website about large groups of people allowed to gather at casinos in Nevada, but not in churches. What's that all about?
Yeah, this is a head scratcher, but not all that surprising, as we have seen through this China virus crisis, where religious liberty has been curtailed on the state level. And that's been the case in the state of Nevada, where the government came in and said, you know what, if you are a church, you are not allowed to have a full crowd inside your building. You can only have a certain number of people inside that building. At the same time, the state of Nevada reopened the casinos in Vegas and Reno, and they said you can have as many people as you want coming to the casino. So that has a lot of pastors really upset here, and rightfully so. If you're going to have 200 people inside a casino, why can you not have 200 people inside the church house? And there's clearly a double standard here. And that's why Calvary Chapel has asked for legal counsel and legal guidance here on how to deal with this.
Where else are we seeing this sort of double standard against churches?
Yeah, well, look, California is the big hot spot here, and this case went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled against churches. The Supreme Court decided that Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, did have the authority to limit the number of people who could attend churches, or quite frankly, could even shut down the church houses as a matter of public safety. Now, here's the problem that we're facing, and we talked about this on my radio show with Kelly Shackelford from First Liberty Institute. Unfortunately, there are other religious liberty law firms that are going out there, and they are filing lawsuits that are faulty lawsuits. And one of those lawsuits made it all the way to the Supreme Court, and hence you got the ruling against the church houses. So the issue here is for these religious liberty law firms to make sure they are picking the right cases that they can win if in fact it goes all the way to the Supreme Court. It's a tough situation right now for Christians across this country.
You also have in your story, actually have a story on your website about a Christian singing group, actually a family being censored on social media. What happened there?
Yeah, these folks actually happen to be dear friends of mine. The Mylan Hayes family, they're one of the top gospel singing groups in Southern gospel music, and they had put a beautiful rendition of the national anthem on their Facebook fan page. And immediately after they did that, they were locked out of their account by Facebook, and no matter what they tried to do, they were not able to get back into their account. I spoke to the Hayes family, and they tell me they believe that they were locked out of their account because they performed the Star Spangled Banner on their Facebook page.
Wow. How real is the threat to religious freedom in all of this? Break it down for us.
Well, I think there is a clear and present danger to religious liberty in the United States of America. And I think we have to be very careful. We have to be very wise in how we approach this. And it's not all that surprising. I've written 3 or 4 books on this very issue of religious liberty under attack. Here's the big problem. The casinos in Vegas, they have lobbyists. Those lobbyists are able to work with lawmakers to get what they want. But by and large, the Christians do not have lobbyists. So in many cases, they do not have a voice in the State House. And that's why it's so important for Christians to engage the political process and to make sure they're reaching out to their elected leaders. If we do not do that, we will not have a voice. And unfortunately, when push comes to shove, they're going to kick the Christians to the curb.
Yeah. Any other advice for Christians and church leaders when it comes to responding to what's happening in this day and time?
So look, by and large, I think every major church in America has followed the protocol set forth by the CDC and the government, the social distancing guidelines, the hand sanitizer, the face masks. churches are doing what they need to do to make sure that church members are protected in the church house. And I think that's an important thing. But the reality is, for example, back in California, they actually told churches they're not allowed to sing anymore. I mean, what right does the governor have to tell churches what they can and cannot do in their worship service? And I interviewed the pastor of one mega church, Dr. Paul Chappell, Lancaster Baptist Church. He said that God decides how they worship, not Sacramento.
All right, Todd Starnes, thanks so much for your information and keeping us updated on all of this.
Thanks, Mark.